Hey everyone, welcome to the second issue of the LifeCast. I'm your host, Ricky Williams. If you're just starting to watch, this is a video cast about pretty much anything I find interesting. This week I wanted to talk comics, specifically Marvel's Secret Wars and the all-new, all-different Marvel that's going to happen after the event. This is basically my opinion on that, my feeling, my take. Um, so we'll get into that. Since I'm going to talk comics, I got to talk to everyone about my first source for comic knowledge and info. It's the Comic Junkie forums on the Blowout Cards site. The link will be in the info as usual. The forums are awesome. It's got a great group of folks with a ton of knowledge regarding comics, and they even go into figurines and stuff like that. If you're a reader or a collector, you got to sign up. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't join. There are threads about sorting, storing, collecting, speculating, threads showing some wicked collections of comics, Silver Age to modern, just all sorts of stuff. You just got to join up and see for yourself. Next, I wanted to talk about a resource that I discovered this weekend. Not comic related, it's about coding. I love coding. I did some programming in high school. I learned an ancient, obsolete language. Never did much more with that. Last year, I jumped in, got some tutorials, started to learn Objective-C, which I'm still in the middle of finishing that up. But I want to learn code. I love the language, the languages, and just the stuff you're able to do. And this weekend I found some great posts on lifehacker.com. That's sort of an introduction to that. So that will also be with the rest of the links. So if that's something you find interesting, then again, definitely I say check it out. Got some feedback about my background, which I know is pretty rough. I'm hoping to start doing this at home. And then, I'll have a better background with some more appealing stuff to the eye. So we'll see how that goes, maybe for next week's issue. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that my comic bias is Marvel. The first comic I ever owned was a Marvel comic, which I do still have to this day. I haven't read much DC, even though I know most of the major characters like pretty much everyone else in the world. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern, or Green Lantern, yeah. I used to read comics in high school. I use the term collect loosely because I didn't really know what I was doing back then. I didn't know about the value of comics, didn't know how to store them. I just pretty much knew what I liked, and so I would buy it, read it, and then put them away. After a while, I only just recently, maybe ending of 2014, got back into collecting. Was I heard about the death of Wolverine, which is a pretty iconic Marvel character. So when I heard that, I knew, well, I figure that, in time, the death of that character might make the comics valuable. So I started trying to find them. I just, it brought back my love of comics and the characters. And so, I started looking more into it, looking into some of my other favorites. And now, 3 short boxes later, whole lot more knowledge, I'm, continuing on. So that brings me to the whole Secret Wars event, and the changes to the Marvel Comic Universe, or MCU, which that will bring. So this year, Marvel started the Secret Wars event. Brief synopsis: the multiverse is now gone. There were multiple universes where things were a little different. For example, in one universe, Gwen Stacy was bitten by the famous radioactive spider instead of Peter Parker. The 616 designation was used for the main universe that most people are more familiar with, but now all that is gone. I'm all for that because it would get really confusing. Sometimes you would see, the characters doing some things that weren't really in their character, or, whatever. And then, after going through the whole storyline, you would find out that it was an alternate universe or something like that. And a whole bunch of universes, everything would just become confusing. So I'm all for getting rid of that. If you want to find out more of what Secret Wars is about, I'd say pick it up. I'm not really going to go into it. My thoughts on Secret Wars, though, for me, a huge personal reason that I hated it right off the bat was the character of Doctor Doom, which is very prominent in the storyline. I hate that character. I despise Doctor Doom, so for me, any story that he's in just sucks. Now, in Secret Wars, Doctor Doom is God and Master over the world, so, that's a huge role. So to me, I hated that fact. First time I saw it, I cringed. I didn't even want to continue. I know that's a personal thing. Apart from that, the story is interesting, but it does bring a lot of change to the MCU. And going forward, they've already said that, the changes are going to stick. And so that's what I really want to talk about, is just the changes that it's going to bring after the event is over. Marvel is a company like any other. They need to make money or they go away. If readers are not buying their comics, profits go down. So I understand that they want to, bring in new readers, a new generation of readers, younger audience. So they want to do new stories, new characters, or new, like, rebuilt characters, basically. So the way they want to do it is by changing the MCU, changing the characters, the backstories. Once, Secret Wars is over, they're going to be relaunching a bunch of titles with #1 issues. Some of our favorite characters will be gone, others will be different backstories, different look and feel. And for me, that is the problem. I feel like they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I feel like in search of the new readers, they're sacrificing the already loyal readers. There are different reasons that a reader chooses comics and characters as their favorites. They might enjoy the story, the art, the backstory. They might connect with the characters or the hero in the story. We become invested in the story, we become invested in the characters. In Axis, for example, Tony Stark's, aka Iron Man, turned into a douchebag. Iron Man is one of my favorite characters, and throughout the whole story of Superior Iron Man, I was waiting for the change. When he would come back to his senses, he would see what he had done. He would turn around and become a real superhero again, a superhero that fans could look up to. That didn't happen. We feel for characters, we feel for their situations. That's how we become invested in it. Another example is Thor, which is one of my top 3 favorite Marvel characters. the thing that pulled me into that character in the very first place was the Norse mythology behind it. I've always loved mythology. Ever since I was young, I read Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Norse mythology. So as soon as I saw the character, it incorporated elements and told some of the stories of Norse mythology, that hooked me. Now, after Secret Wars, that will all change. The Norse mythology element behind Thor will be gone. That caused me to lose interest in the character in the books. I'm going to say that right now. It will be the same. It might be the same for other readers as elements that they found interesting changes for the character. I feel like it's like Marvel saying, "Oh, you care things that act for." You always held out hope that they would one day realize their dream. Okay, well, that's not going to happen, and it's all gone now. I think after Secret War ends, I will not be as into the all new, all different Marvel. I'm not saying that in hopes that, this video cast or my thoughts is going to sway them. I mean, like I said, they're a big company. They're going to do what they think is best for their bottom line, for their audience, to get them new readers. I'm not saying it like it's a threat, like, oh, you've lost a reader or someone buying Marvel comics. I love Marvel, so, I'm still going to watch the movies. I'm still going to be a fan. They've got tons of back issues that, have that sort of aspect of the story that I like. So it just means going forward, I might not be picking up their new titles. I'm going to be looking at their Silver Age stuff or, their older stuff. For me, I feel like when you read a comic, you get that sense of satisfaction when you're done. You feel joy, or you feel an excitement for the next issue, depending on the predicament that they're in. You want to see them triumph. And, I didn't get that. I've been reading, Secret Wars and all the times, and I don't get that satisfaction at the end. And for me, I feel like it's because I see these characters, I know these characters, but it's not really the same characters. They're different. The situation is different. The way they act is different, and that causes a disconnect for me. And without that feeling of me knowing this character, it's like I don't really care about what happens to the character. I don't care about the story, so without the feeling of satisfaction when I'm done reading the comic, what's the point of buying it? Why invest my time and money if it doesn't give me something in return, if I don't get joy out of it or some sort of satisfaction? So as I've said before, I will wait to see, how they're going to handle the all new direction, the bunch of number ones that they're putting out. There are a few. I was introduced to Miss Marvel, the Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. For me, that I think. I see, if you want new readers, why not create new characters with, a different backstory? For instance, Miss Marvel is not a new character. They've had Miss Marvel, but the Kamala Khan version is new. There was that new backstory. It had new villains, new struggles, but she did interact with already existing characters. So I don't see why they can't keep doing that. Create new characters. It doesn't even have to be using an already existing name. A totally new character. They have a ton of characters in the MCU, characters who aren't as well known. Reinvent those. I mean, if you look at Squirrel Girl, that's not a huge, there's a cult following to that character, but they relaunched that character, and the unbeatable Squirrel Girl has been doing pretty good. She's interacted with Galactus, different Iron Man, different MCU characters. So I don't see why they can't do that. And that would be my reasoning, because then you would have your, established readers reading the stuff that they like. And then you would have your new readers reading these new characters, and even your established readers who would, discover these new characters. But that's my thought. I mean, I don't work for Marvel. I don't see the facts and figures they have about trends and what people are reading and that sort of stuff. So like I said, I'll check out the number ones that they put out. I'll see the direction they take, and if it is how I think it's going to be, for me personally, I don't think I will be invested in that. So I mean, I guess we'll just have to see how it shakes out. But that's my thoughts and feelings on that whole situation. So we have now come to the end of another issue, and I will see you in a week. I've definitely got to come up with a more snazzy outro bit, but take it easy.